Want to know everything about brewing in 3 minutes? Challenge accepted. Hey, can I borrow your Legos for a second? Oh yeah. This is water. This is honey. We'll call this apple juice. Other fermentable sugars. White stuff? Yeah, that's going to be our yeast. Okay, so all yeast is different. Let me explain. Some yeast is designed to make a high alcohol. Some isn't. Some is really, really strong. Other stuff just kind of covers a broad area. And some stuff is really good at defending against temperature alterations. And then, of course, wild yeast. We don't want this. Want to know something else really cool about yeast? So if we take our sugar, our yeast can attach to it and make us alcohol. Pretty simple, right? But when you're making beer, all the sugar is protected. So the yeast can't get to it. So we have to take the grain and we have to boil it. And that boiling causes those enzymes to start breaking down the starches. And so now our yeast can actually get to the sugar. That's called sparging. This is all the fun stuff that you can add to your yeast. Maybe you want some strawberries. Maybe you want some raspberries. Maybe you want something else. Maybe some blueberries. Maybe jalapenos. Maybe chocolate. Maybe anything. All of these things that you add are called adjuncts. So when you start building your recipe, you're going to make sure you start off with your fermentable sugars. And then you're going to add in whatever adjuncts you want. So once we take our water, we're going to assemble our recipe. Now comes an important step. Some of those ingredients might have bad wild yeast. We're going to kill it. Ah, yes, our recipe is safe now. But here's the problem. See how even though we built it, it doesn't really, it's not level. The problem when your recipe isn't easy to get to is that your yeast might not be able to get to all the available sugars and ingredients. And that leads us to yeast nutrients. We're going to call this our yeast nutrient. Our yeast nutrient takes all those little gaps and makes a nice level field, so that way our yeast can better get to everything. Challenge accepted. There's a little bit more to this though. Get ready. People keep saying, whenever I'm making a recipe, how do I know how much to add? It's all about balance, and that's where the experiment comes in. Too much of any one thing, and it's just not going to work. So once the yeast has had an opportunity to build up strength and eat all of our available sugars, we're done. Okay, our yeast is finished. So how do we keep this from trying to ferment again? And now we get to preservatives. Preservatives preserve everything that you might put in the yeast. In your batch of meat. Now it's completely preserved. We don't have to worry about wild yeast trying to attack it. And even if we added in more yeast, it just can't get to the sugars, even if there was more. Once you've added preservatives, you can add more sugar because it's not going to make anything else because the yeast is being blocked by the preservative. But why would I add more sugar? Well, you might not want it really, really dry. You might want something a little more sweet. Holy crap, I totally understand it now. Congratulations, you're now a master brewer. Look guys, it doesn't matter what you add. This is your toolkit. Just experiment, have fun, make mead. I'm gonna get a drink. Challenge killed.